Luckily, there was a semi-truck.
It's time to meet the Muppets on the Muppet Show tonight.
Good morning. Look at my perfect size hat. We're going to the Sisters Outdoor Quilt Show. It's the biggest in the country. I think it might say the world. Shelly's here with me. Shelly's wearing her Lane pants that she made. Look how cute. I'm wearing my sit tie dress that we made. I'm wearing a giant Bagoo hat. We were supposed to bring Felix and the baby, but we found out that Sisters is an hour away from where we're staying actually. And I thought it was only 30 minutes. And the baby has to have a nap. So it's just a Mimi and Morgan adventure today, but I'm so excited. We took a beautiful road trip yesterday to get here. And now it's 9 a.m. We're gonna go find some coffee and look at some quilts. This is so cute. You look so cute. We're standing in the line at the Dutch Bros. In between cars, because Mimi didn't sleep great because she wasn't in her beautiful, wonderful bed, which is fair.
Hi guys.
Hi! What did you get, Mimi?
I got a huge golden eagle.
Yeah,
and
hold
a
it
can of
next to your head.
sleep.
It's a perfect size.
Wait, golden eagle, oat milk, and then I like to put a little bit of cinnamon syrup, not the bitter cinnamon on the top.
Full cinnamon, yeah.
Yes.
And
it's perfect drink.
Yeah, just what she needs.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are Oregon grapes, right?
Oh, you're right. Yes, because we have this in our yard.
Yes. for antique shop and break. Hi. It was tons of fun to go to the quilt show. I'm very excited to go again next year. We stayed at Felix's family's cabin, which is about an hour away from Sisters, like I said, for next year. I don't know if that's what we'll do again. It depends on so many things. So number one, we can stay there for free, which is a huge factor, a huge pro. But it was an hour away from the show. If like our main goal during that weekend is to spend time in Sisters, that does make it hard. But I think next time I will just like plan more intently about like knowing that it's an hour away. And either it depends on many things. A lot can happen in a year. If our kiddo's not napping anymore, maybe he would have enjoyed it. I would say it depends on your kid, but like while we were there, I was really glad we didn't bring our toddler. I think he would have had a hard time. You're not supposed to touch the quilts. People definitely were, but I know you're not supposed to. And then also going to antique stores, of which there were many, which was amazing. You're also not really supposed to touch stuff in there. So I'm glad he didn't go, because I think it would have been just a whole day of us being like, hey, don't touch that. Hey, don't touch that. Not a lot of like kid specific activities. I also didn't see like a playground in like the downtown part of Sisters, which makes sense. We did pass one as we were driving in, but there was a gate around it, and I don't know if it would have been unlocked or not. I did take notes. If you are interested in going to this or maybe something similar, hopefully they'll help you. Just some tips and tricks and things we did or things I plan to do the next time we go that I think will make it a little bit smoother. So for this specific show, we actually got there early. It started at 9. I think we got there at like 9:10, and we parked by City Hall. I'll see if I can put up a map of what it looked like. We parked by City Hall, which originally when we looked at the map, we were like, we probably won't even go all the way down there because it looked so far, but actually like the blocks are very small. Very small. All of it was super walkable for us. Obviously it depends on what your accessibility needs are, but we didn't have any issue at all parking at City Hall and walking all the way down. They do block off an entire the main road, and that was amazing. That was so nice. I will say it was a little annoying. The road that wasn't blocked off, they closed like every other crosswalk basically. And later in the day we found out it's because they had like sheriffs like directing traffic, which made sense. But at the beginning of the day when it was just like random, this crosswalk is closed signs, we were like, okay, so how do we cross the street to see the quilts on that side? So that was like just something that I need to know next time, that I think I'm gonna stay on like the main road that's closed first and then go over to the one where they like later had sheriffs. And maybe they normally have sheriffs right at 9 and they were just late. I don't know. But that was something that I will plan for next time for sure. Something else that I did, I wore that big ass Bagoo hat. They were in style, I don't know, during my honeymoon in 2021. So like 5 years ago. I don't know if they're out of style now. I don't care. We have 2 of those big ass hats. If I ever saw them at a thrift store, I would buy other ones in other colors. I love that hat. I love it. It's huge. It is a huge hat. It provides so much shade, and it was hot. Like it wasn't, I'm from Alabama, right? So like I know hot with a capital H. It wasn't like that. It was probably like, I don't know, maybe upper 80s, 90s. But like there's not a ton of shade because you're just like walking on a street where normally cars would be. You do dodge like in and out of buildings because, at least we did, because we're going like thrifting, antiquing, look at more quilts, thrifting, antiquing. So, you know, if you didn't bring a hat, you wouldn't be like totally screwed or anything. But I would definitely say bring a hat, bring your sunscreen, bring lots of water. However, if you don't bring water, bring cash, because there were some like local kids having like a wheeled cooler walking up and down the main street, and they were going, ice cold water, just $2, and they were selling water. It was like a mobile lemonade stand, but with just water. And I will be bringing cash next time to buy, because they were so cute. Also, that's so smart. Like if you live in a teeny tiny town that has this like random huge event, hell yeah, like go make, you know, I hope they made good money, because they were so cute, they were so polite, and people were thirsty. There were tons of places to eat. We specifically were just kind of like seeing how hungry we'd be, because Shelly and I both like kind of had a little snack, like we had coffee and breakfast before we went. And so I knew we weren't gonna be like starving right as everything opened at 11, but we picked the Mexican restaurant that we had like walked by that opened at 11:30. And I think we got there at like 11:40, and we were the last people to get a table before like the wait list started. And as you saw, it wasn't even like a real table. We were sitting at like this high top by the window. So I would say if you are planning on buying lunch there, maybe look ahead of time, see what you want and see when it opens, because every restaurant had like a long list. There were also people selling like there were some food trucks. There was also like people selling hot dog and chips for $5. Like, okay, if that's all you need. Shelly's vegetarian, so we couldn't have done that anyway. Also, like, I was excited to have Mexican food. It was so good also. It was so good. I wish I had it now. It was delicious. But as you saw at the restaurant, they had like a no split checks, 20% gratuity added, like hard set rule. I don't know if every restaurant does that. I did see a couple other places where they had like similar signs up. And honestly, like, I don't think that's crazy, especially if it's like normally a very small town that does not get a lot of foot traffic, to then have like a cuckoo bananas day randomly. Like, your staff aren't gonna be accustomed to like, you know what I mean? And when you do things like split checks, it does increase the chance of like things getting messed up as far as that goes. So I can understand that for sure. Didn't bother us. We're also just 2 people. So I would just say if you are going with more people, make sure either you all have cash or you've got each other's Venmos or whatever, because I would say even if the place wasn't like no split checks, it's just easier when like things are so busy to just have one check and then you guys can figure it out between yourselves. I would also say bring snacks. This is an event, in my opinion, you could easily be there all day. We weren't, because we wanted to get back to hang out with the toddler, and like Felix has had to have the toddler all day, so like I knew that he was tired, and so we knew that we weren't going to be there till like 5 p.m. But it would be incredibly possible. We did not see all of the quilts. We saw, if I had to guess, I would say like 2/3 of them. Like, we saw most of them, but we did not see all of them, and it was crazy. It was really busy. Which is great. I love that there were so many people who wanted to come see like this entire town turn into an art museum, basically. Like, I thought it was so cool. But if you were going to be there all day, definitely bring snacks, or be prepared to buy a little snack here, a little snack there, you know. As far as the crowd, I would say that Shelly and I were on the younger side. I did see a couple of people with like young kids, not very many, which again, I think is the right call, because it was like, it probably would have been, if I had gone when I was like younger than 11, I probably would have been like, this is so boring. Clearly the average demographic was like women older than like 55 years old. And I would say most of those women actually were there with other friends of theirs that they quilt with. So we saw a bunch of like cute little ladies in matching t-shirts that say like, uh-oh, Ethel and Jane are at it again. Sisters Outdoor Quilt Show 2026. Like, which I thought was really fun. It's kind of like, you know, if you go to like a midnight premiere of a book and you see a bunch of friends who are all in like a book club together being excited. It was really sweet. There were actually also, we saw quite a few visibly queer people, which was great. We love to see it. I will say, I don't know if we saw any person of color basically the whole day. I for sure saw like a couple, but I would say like as a general rule, I can't speak to the experience of how people of color do in Sisters. If you are a person of color who's ever visited Sisters, chime in. That doesn't super surprise me, because Oregon, due to its history, doesn't have a lot of people of color in those parts of Oregon specifically. So I don't know how far people normally travel for something like this, but that is something to be aware of if you are a person of color or a family of color that's thinking about going. Just be aware that you will definitely be in the minority, which I don't think is necessarily always scary or stressful, but it is definitely something that I think you should know going in. Overall, yeah, it was so fun. I think next year we will, like I said, purposefully plan to be there longer. And I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if there's more I necessarily even would have like filmed. I think everything else that I wanted to experience would have been just for me and not necessarily for work. So there's something to be said about that, you know? But we only went to some of the thrift stores. There are so many. Lots of antique stores, which are like, you know, they're different vibes. Their Habitat for Humanity was the most well-organized Habitat I've ever seen. It was also like a normal thrift store. I feel like typically, at least the ones that I've been to, like the Restore by Habitat for Humanity, it's normally like a lot of building materials, and this was not that at all. It was mostly like clothes, craft supplies, books, stuff like that. Also, since this is the place where they've been having the Outdoor Quilt Show for 50 years, it's super clear that a lot of people in the town are quilters and crafters. And so the craft sections of basically every thrift store were huge. I didn't really have any extra money to spend, so I did not like comb through them. But I think next year I'm going to plan for that purposefully and possibly go ham crazy because there was so much to look through. And again, like we were kind of like rushing to get back. So I'm sure there's many treasures to be found the next time we go to Sisters. It was so much fun. I can't wait to go back. Oh, I also love how many people were wearing something that they either made their outfit or their bag, or they like have a Cricut and they made a crazy, weirdly specific t-shirt. It was like so nice to be surrounded by people who are interested in your same hobby, but it's a hobby that has so many different like versions, if that makes sense. So I saw so many people being like, oh my God, did you make your dress? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, oh, that's so crazy. I've never made a dress. And I'll be like, oh, did you make your incredibly complicated bag that looks like it was like so expensive? And they'd be like, oh yeah, like, you know, I whipped this up the other day. And it's like, it's just so, people are so interesting and so talented. And it was great to be there. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here. We have a lot of exciting stuff coming up in the next few months, content-wise. So I'm excited to share that with you. This was another little short one. If you're looking for a longer one, we actually just posted our Alabama vlog, or you can scroll back through some of our other vlogs. Every now and then we do super long ones, and then also we try to throw in little short ones, just because people have different attention spans, and I get that, you know? The world is so scary, but you are so lovely, and I'm so glad you're here. Okay, bye-bye, sweet peas. I love you.